Hey guys, I'm Elena Freddi and I'm going to talk about teaching fractions in year 1 and 2 through an online resource. Fractions are any part of a group, number, or a whole. But while this definition seems pretty straightforward, fractions are one of the most difficult numeracy tasks for students, together with ratio and proportion. One of the reasons why one of the reasons is that the concepts involved contradict previously learned rules about whole numbers. For example, that one third is less than a half, while three is greater than two. Performance in tests such as NAPLAN showed that students solve fraction problems with little understanding of their computation. Students are introduced to the concept of fractions in year 1 and 2, which by the end of, they're expected to recognize, describe, and interpret common uses of halves, quarters, and eighths of shapes and collections. The online resource I've chosen, which would help teach this complex topic, is Khan Academy. This is a non-profit educational organization that aims to provide free world-class education for anyone through videos, practice exercises, and tools for educators. This section on fractions was designed for third grade in the US, and I found it linked directly with the content of fractions in the Victorian curriculum. Because students in year 1 and 2 are new to the concept of fractions, this resource would be most useful if students have had a lot of experience exploring the concept with concrete materials, such as, but not limited to, paper folding activities, and also if they have been introduced to the rectangular region models. The learning intention is to enable students to form and consolidate early knowledge and understanding of fractions through the area model. The introductory section is divided in three parts, which are a video, a section that focuses on the equal parts of a fraction, and the last one that focuses on identifying and naming fractions. Now let's watch part of the introduction video.
So once again, this square right over here that I'm shading in red represents 1/8 of the whole. Now let's look at a few more examples where I've shaded them in ahead of time. And what I want you to do right now is pause the video and either in your head or on a piece of paper, write down, if you consider this purple thing the whole, what fraction does this red part represent? If you consider this blue part the whole, what fraction does this red part represent? If you view this yellow triangle as a whole, what fraction does this red part represent? And so I encourage you to pause the video now.
The video uses clear shaded holes to show the concept of fractions. It also focuses on the understanding of equal parts, which is a fundamental component to fractions, and on naming and identifying parts of a whole. It also has an interactive component, which I found engaging. So, the first activity focuses on identifying equal parts of shapes, which is directly linked to the Victorian curriculum. For example, the first question asks which of the rectangles have half of their area shaded. We'll just click on the wrong answer just to see what happens. So if you get the answer wrong, you can look at the hints and it allows you to look at a maximum of 3 hints. The hints build upon each other and enable the student to construct their knowledge of fractions as well as consolidating it. I also like the fact that the students have to get 5 answers correct in a row, which allows for more practice if needed. Um, so the second activity focuses on naming parts of shapes within a whole. You have a couple of options on how to name your fractions. And this explanation helps the students during the activity. And again, they're also allowed to look at 3 hints that will help them understand the activity and the topic. So let's type in the wrong answer again, just to see what kind of helpful hints they give us. Progression is another component of this online resource. You can register and participate in short pre-tests which set the difficulty of the questions you're going to get. And after you start, you gather points that let you go up levels until you master the topic. This component allows for differentiation and adds an element of motivation. So, if you look at the online resource against the fractions learning sequence, we can clearly see how it directly relates as it builds knowledge from identifying equal parts of a fraction to naming parts of a whole. So these are some advantages that I've mentioned throughout the presentation, which make it a resource that develops knowledge of fractions, as well as being good practice for students who already understand fractions. And these are some of the limitations. However, the fact that it focuses only on the area models could also be seen as an advantage. Fractions are a complex topic, therefore, focusing on one perspective at a time may avoid confusion. Now, thanks for listening.